Come on down, step right in. Carol's Kitchen, where we begin. See what's cooking, something new. Plant-based power just for you. Delicious meals on every plate. Healthy choices feeling great. Inspiration in every dish. Taste the magic, it's our wish. Power to the plants we sing. Health for you, it's everything. Cooking up a storm and there. Carol's Kitchen, love and care. Education one bite at a time. Nourishing the heart and mind. Join the journey, let's unite. Pure plant power feels so right. Power to the plants we sing. Health for you, it's everything. Cooking up a storm and there. Carol's Kitchen, love and care.
Hi, everyone. I'm Jim Spellos, filling in this week, as you can tell, for Wendy Sachs, and we welcome you again to our monthly series, Cooking with Chef Carole, presented by Plant-Powered Metro New York. And as always, we'd like to appreciate its co-sponsorship by the Marlene Myerson JCC in Manhattan. Plant-Powered Metro New York empowers people to achieve better health and overcome chronic disease through a whole food, plant-based approach to nutrition. We offer evidence-based education, resources, and a grassroots network of support to create community and inspire change. Together as leaders, organizers, and educators, we raise awareness about the dramatic health benefits of whole food plant-based nutrition, empower individuals to make their own lifestyle adjustments, and lead projects that spark changes in food policy, practice, and culture. So it's July. Gardens across the U.S. are in full bloom, including Carol's in Taos, which we saw some pictures of last month. So many incredible fruits and vegetables. We won't even talk about any in particular. We just encourage you to do your veggie shopping at your local farmers markets. And as always, encourage you to buy locally, eat organic, or even better, regeneratively grown fruits and veggies, because soil health matters and you want to eat from the best soil possible. So a quick overview of what's coming up in PPMNY over the next couple of weeks. We have in Bronx and Brooklyn and Tenafly, New Jersey, in our area. We have some great in-person education and socials for our community. Next week, a week from this week, online in Spanish, we have the series Understanding Your Numbers, continuing with the subject weight and diabetes on Tuesday, the 22nd, and on Thursday, the 24th. Heart to Healthy Heart returns with the first of a three-part series on SOS. First up will be Dr. Kim Scheuer returning to Heart to Healthy Heart, and we'll be discussing shaking the salt habit. Really, really important stuff. Just so you know, next month, Chef Carole will be taking the month off, as we all will be, and we will be back on Sunday, the 28th of September. And have you seen the new website? It's really amazing, with tips and menu planning and fridge and pantry basics and all sorts of cuisine and stuff that you have to go check out. So definitely go there. You can register for our events there, plantpoweredmetrony.org. And before we just send it over to the chef, please let us know where you are in the chat. Ask us questions. We'll try to get to as many as possible. And do like us on Facebook and YouTube, or even LinkedIn if you're watching there. That'd be pretty cool. So with that all said, let me bring on Carole. Say, Carole, what's cooking today?
Oh my God, Jim, it's so. I love having you in the front. You're always here, but you're in the back, and we don't get to see you. So a treat. I want everyone to know this is a treat to have Jim in the front. He's always present. And thank you for mentioning all those events. One of those events is yours, right? The Heart Healthy one is yours that you host and put together. And the only one you didn't mention, and I don't know the date, I think it's the 28th, is there's a thing about feeding your pets a vegan meal, vegan diet.
Wow.
Did you know that? It's at the end of the month. I think it's the 28th. I'm actually looking forward to it very much, because when I got Isla, my little dog, I was just like, gosh, I really want to feed her like just vegetables, but I didn't know.
But you can.
I didn't know, like I wasn't sure. She was a dog. She was given to me. They were feeding her goat's milk and eggs. And I just like went right into giving her like fresh little pieces of chicken and meat. But when she was having problems, like going to the bathroom, like I took her to the vet when she was so little, and they said, she needs broccoli just like you do. And I said, oh, really? And so I give her lots of vegetables. I do give her lots of vegetables, but I do give her a little meat as well. And so I'm very excited about learning about how can your pet or dog be plant-based, fully,
You know,
full.
Carol, our neighbor has a Chihuahua who's now 17 or 18, completely plant-based. And the doctors are saying that probably has extended her life 5 or 6 years just by being able to only eat fruits. That's all she wants to eat these days is fruit and vegetables.
I know. I feel like it would be denying her, like, just her natural thing. But I'm gonna learn about it at the end of the month, and I might be transitioning. I mean, I already give her a ton of vegetables. I always say that she's between me and the composting. So she gets she whatever is not good enough to go in my mouth. What doesn't go and before it gets to the composting gets to her mouth. You know. So she does eat a lot of vegetables, but I am very excited about that. It has nothing to do with my show today, but you were mentioning all the events, and I'm like, you haven't gone through the entire month of July because that is the one that's the last, I think, in
Well,
the
we
month.
do so much here in Plant Power, it would take up the entire show to go through the month, right? So we
Yes,
keep it short.
exactly. Exactly. So some of you come all the time, people like Carol Klonowski. I'm sure you're there. I'm saying hello to you, Carol. I think my friends from the Shilke family who are here in Taos, I think they're joining us. There's a lot of you who come every month, and we're a little bit continuing what I promised from last month when we were just cooking out of my refrigerator and we didn't get to finish. And so we're working on salads. It's the middle of summer. We're in the height of every kind of fruit, every kind of vegetable. And as Jim had explained about eating plants, regenerative, but I want to add to his introduction that it's really important to eat seasonally as well. And for me, that is one of the most important things is eating what is in season now. Because, in a few months, we're just going to have apples and pears. But right now, we have all the berries, we have the apricots, we have the peaches, we have the plums, and you must enjoy that while it's here because before you know it, it will be over with. And I'm always sad, literally sad when the fruit season ends. But then, you know what? I kind of get in the groove and I make the transition and I accept, okay, it's going to be apples and pears for the next couple months. So it is important to recognize seasonal eating. So we are going to make three things today. As always, I kind of cram in a lot, but I think it's going to be kind of quick, as long as I don't over explain everything to you. We're going to not turn on our oven because it's hot. And I know in New York, that was always my goal, was not to turn on the oven because it meant I had to run the air conditioning more. And so here I don't have any air conditioning. I don't have to worry about that, but I just don't want to turn on the oven. And I'm going to show you a sesame noodle salad made with a rainbow of vegetables that I literally practically eat like not every day, but there was a week ago, maybe a couple weeks ago, where I felt like I ate it 5 days in a row. Like I just came home, made it fast, and then lunch was done. Maybe even dinner was done. And so we're going to make that. So it's cold sesame ginger noodles, and it's delicious. We're going to make a very quick little pesto. I have showed pesto before, but some of you might be new. And I thought today we would not make the pesto with nuts. I give you a recipe that has pesto with nuts, but I thought we would replace the nuts today because some of you maybe are allergic. And instead of the nuts, we're going to use an avocado. So you have the recipe with the nuts, but we're going to use an avocado today. And then a tribute to my former love of my life, my partner who is no longer with us, who has passed away 5 years ago. He loved popsicles. And this is the month that I always have him so much in my heart. He passed in July of 2020, and maybe I wouldn't even be in Taos if he had not passed away. But in honor of him, this month we're going to have popsicles. So let's get started because I'm quite excited. A lot of this meal is from my garden, and I will announce that because I'm very proud of the things that come from the garden. So we're going to start with the dressing, a dressing that we've made before. And I just always have like probably 2 times this amount always in the fridge because I like to have it on cold salads. And I also like sauteing it with grains and greens and then just pouring it over as a dressing. So it's a versatile dressing and it tastes so good. It's made very simply. I already put a 1/4 cup of tahini into this container here. And I just want to get a pot holder, just 1 second. I started some water boiling. Oh my gosh, and it's boiling so fast, I don't know how that happened. That's what happens when you're in a copper pot. Maybe you all can see this pot. It's one of my favorite pots that I hardly ever use on the show. But copper retains the heat and it's came to a boil like in a minute. Let's do one thing before we make the dressing. I am going to put a few noodles in this salad to give it some kind of body, okay? We're going to put lots of vegetables and the salad's going to probably puff up, and I specifically don't give you uh serving sizes because everybody, when you're eating plant-based, sometimes it looks like you eat 2 to 3 times the amount than somebody else. So I'm going to say that this salad's going to puff up. You're going to see it's probably enough for 3 times, but for one person, but let's just see how it goes. But what I have done here is taken, you can use any kind of noodles, udon noodles, whole wheat noodles. These are brown rice noodles, which I love very much. I've showed you this brand before. This is the brand. It's the Pasta Joy Ready brown rice noodles. These are the fettuccine. I like these very much. They say that a serving size is 56 grams. And if you didn't have a scale, they say one serving is 3/4 of an inch in diameter. So I really started to pay attention to this about a year ago because I think I was eating 2 or 3 times sometimes the amount of pasta or, ramen. And I wasn't conscious of the serving size. So now I always look at the package to find what is one serving. So we're cooking one serving, which is 56 grams. And I'm just going to put these pastas in the water boiling and they're going to cook while we're making the dressing. Okay? Hopefully, again, we can use any kind of noodle you want. This is the brown rice noodle, which I really love. It doesn't get mushy and it's the fettuccine one. Now, we are going to have the 1/4 cup of tahini. We need 1/4 cup of water. Okay, I'm just going to put that in there right away. Okay, and I'm going to get my little teeny whisk. Oh, the little teeny whisk is already over here. I went to where it normally is. And we're going to start to mix this. And we need 1 tablespoon of tamari. And somewhere I put the tamari so it wouldn't fall over. I almost knocked it over earlier. We need just 1 tablespoon. Okay, 1 tablespoon of tamari. And again, I usually make double this, but I only have a little bit of it in the refrigerator. And we need to have lemon juice. And I talk often, it looks like I got froze for a moment there, but I talk often about using fresh lemons, and I always zest the outside. I used my tool earlier, my microplaner, and made some zest. We'll use that eventually for something, probably the pesto. And we're just, usually the lemon is about, I took out this bowl because we're going to use lemon juice a lot today. And I'm just going to squeeze both halves. Usually if you have a decent sized lemon, you get 4 tablespoons, which is actually 1/4 of a cup. But some lemons, they're not all created equal. They're not all big. And then I think I've mentioned this too 100 times. I use this and some salt to clean the copper. I use this for scrubbing the cutting board with some salt, and this with some salt to clean the copper pots. So we now have, and we're going to use this again. So let's just keep this close by. We need 1 tablespoon of lemon juice. And then, so we did 1/4 cup tahini, 1/4 cup of water, 1 tablespoon of tamari, or if you want coconut aminos, 1 tablespoon of lemon juice, and then we're going to need 1 tablespoon of fresh ginger. So let me just get this all mixed up. I took out the fresh ginger. I haven't even bothered to cut it up. I have a little bit left over from the other day. I'm all the time cutting too much, and actually have quite a bit in here. But I'll just show you that I have a little container in the fridge that's labeled ginger. Then I always have a lot of it as possible. And you can peel this if you want. You can use a back of a spoon. There's so many different ways of peeling. I'm just going to show you if you want. You can just literally I'm taking a teaspoon and just rubbing it, and you get that skin off. And honestly, there have been many, many times that I'm just so lazy about taking the skin off that you can just use it. It's okay if you've washed it and peel it with the skin. It's really okay. Not going to kill you, really isn't. It's okay. And then what I do is I have a microplaner, and I just use this microplane and I just grate it. And we need 1 full tablespoon. Okay, and that's the dressing. So that dressing is good for lots of things. As I said earlier, you can use it over hot greens and grains, which I like very much. I just saute up a bunch of mushrooms, onions, spinach, chard, and then maybe throw in some barley or some kind of grain. And then I just pour the dressing over it, and it's quite delicious. So I think we have a tablespoon right here. It looks pretty almost full, not quite full, but almost. I could take a little bit that I have here and get rid of this. There's nothing more satisfying to me than getting rid of the things I have in my refrigerator. Little bits of things. Now this is going to go right back in the container with the lid on. And this way I can find it. Again, it's labeled ginger. And it just lives in the refrigerator in this container. I find that to be very convenient. And hopefully you will as well. I realize I threw the pot holder into the sink. That's not very smart. And we need to stir this pasta because it's getting cooked. I have a lot of water in there with very little pasta. You'll see, it's not a pasta dish. It really is about a vegetable dish. And that I really want to convey is the importance. Okay, so here's the dressing. Okay, so we're just going to put this aside. Do I need to taste it? I really don't, because it's delicious. We've made this dressing before, and you'll probably see me make it 5 more times in the future because I love it so much. Now let's get started with the vegetables. So what are we going to have for the vegetables? Well, we're definitely going to have some snap peas, okay? My snap peas in the garden are not quite ready, but the vines are growing quickly and they're happening. I know most of you in New York probably had snap peas over 2 months ago, probably in the spring, which is pretty normal to have them. We're having them in our stores now. Like I said, we're a little bit behind here in the mountains. We had snow up until May, and our growing season doesn't even start till the end of May. So I'm just taking off they grow like this on a vine, hanging like that. And I'm taking that off. Sometimes they have a skin that peel back, but these are not having a peel on the back. And what I'm going to do to save time is you can honestly eat these raw. You don't even have to cook them, but I like to cook them for 30 seconds. So when the pasta is nearly done, I will just drop them into the same boiling water, and they will cook for about 30 seconds until they're bright green. And that's it. And these little stems are going to go in the compost. Okay. We're going to make sure that the pasta is cooking. And it's so little pasta. You'll be like, why does she have so little pasta? Okay, we have edamame beans. These are the frozen kind. I've had them out on the counter for like an hour now. I don't cook these either. Sometimes if they're frozen and I've taken them out, I'll put them in a colander and I'll run them under hot water in the sink. And I'll just take off the ice and they thaw out very quickly. And you do not have to cook them. Okay? I think to save us a little time for when these are actually cooked, we are going to cut them. We can cut them afterwards. In the meantime, we're going to get our pepper ready. I have a red pepper. It's already been washed. There's usually 3 to 4 segments in a pepper. It's up to you. You can cut the top and the bottom. Let's just do that. So top and bottom, right? This is definitely edible. You want to eat that. But if you want to make really pretty matchsticks, you do have to kind of cut them like that. And then I'm just going to cut them. It's very clear where their little segments are. I'm going to get my composting bowl just to get rid of the seeds here. And we're going to get rid of the center here and get rid of the membranes. Right? Now, some of this stuff could already be cut in your refrigerator. You don't have to do it all at one time. You could certainly have your snap peas already cooked. You can have your julienne peppers. When I come home from work, I just do have a lot of this stuff that's already just ready to go, so that getting myself fed is a quick endeavor. So we're just julienne. Okay, these are going to be kind of big pieces. They're this big here. I probably cut them lengthwise. And you know, I'm standing by this heat actually right here, by this pasta water, and it's actually a little warm. Jim, are we having any, I don't think we're having any questions yet, but I'm just trying to decide right now if I'm going to cut these just in half so they're more like bite size. Okay?
No questions, Chef Carol, but it's always a great idea to put your veggies in the pasta water. Just what a great way to save a little bit of time and quickly cook them and blanch them and get them done at the same time the
Yeah,
pasta's
it's
done.
my laziness is what it is, Jim, and I like doing it very much, and it's the same pot of water. And even if I'm very careful, which I won't do while I'm here, but I usually pour the water into a bowl. I put the strainer and the bowl, and then I save the water, and then that same water either goes back into the garden or goes over into the composting, because the compost has to get watered too. So I do kind of make use out of all the water that I use. I'm a little bit crazy about that. Or sometimes I go and I water all the plants with that water. But it's good not to just let it go down the sink. It's water, right? So if we can conserve a little bit, I think it's the best. So
And you could use other colored peppers for this, right?
oh yeah, you could use red. I'm using red, but we're just gonna throw them in here. You're gonna see that this salad is gonna really just become more of a salad. Now, what else are we gonna have? We're gonna have cabbage. We're gonna have red cabbage. I have just a little bit left, not too much. And I'm not sure I can make this. I have a very cool slicer that I've never showed any of you, I don't think. A friend of mine who spent many years in Ukraine showed me that this was a tool that they use very often to slice cabbage. It's easier when you have a big head of cabbage because this is a very big tool. So I'm not quite sure that I'm going to make use out of it very well this very minute, but let's just see if I can make use out of it when the cabbage is smaller than the tool. But it just basically, it's easier, like I said, really works well when you have a big head of cabbage and you're actually like a half a cabbage. And it just slices. For me, sometimes it's faster to just use a knife. But it's a kind of cool tool, and I thought, well, I'll bring it out and show you. getting there, just slicing it. Again, when it's such a small little head, it's very hard to get it to work as efficiently, but it's good. We're just gonna cut this, but you're gonna see I'm gonna give up on that tool for a moment. And we're going to just put this bowl, I don't know, right here for now. Not very well balanced. And I'm just gonna attack this little piece of cabbage. It's very small. And I tell you, I eat a lot of cabbage. I like cabbage very much. I like to pickle it, and I know cabbage can get bad in your refrigerator, and sometimes it will have brown bits on it. And don't throw the whole cabbage away when you see the brown bits. Literally, it's like just cut off the brown bits, because the actual cabbage is still really good underneath the brown bits. I know that sounds weird for me to tell you that, to not throw it away, but sometimes you might take out your cabbage and see that it has some brown when you last cut it. It just has turned another darker shade. And honestly, it's all okay. So just cut those off, get rid of them, and then you'll see it's all very bright and clean again. And you see how little bit, see, it's good when you're at the core here to get in there with a knife. That's the best way to do it. And I'm really determined to like use up all this cabbage so that I'm not putting it away. Although I probably will put away just a little bit of it because it's probably enough. So let's just get this cabbage in here, and we're gonna check our noodles. I'm gonna put, I don't know, like there's no measurements here, okay? Just want you to know they're really not measuring anything. And let's get this bowl here now. So we're just composing something that looks very beautiful. And I'm sure these noodles are done. Let's just, yes, I can see that they're done, but we can't forget to put our peas in there. Let's just taste one noodle. It's essential that you don't just look at them like I am, saying that they're done. Here's one noodle. Oops, it's hot. Very, very hot. You see, you want it to be al dente. Oh, It's actually quite perfect. It has a little bite, just a hair bite. I'm going to turn that, I'm literally going to I'm going to turn the gas off here, the burner, dump those peas in. Those peas literally take like 30 seconds at the most. And if you weren't cooking the pasta and you were just cooking the snap peas, you would want to stop them from cooking by putting some cold water or some ice cubes on them, and that would stop them cooking immediately. We're going to get, right now, a little colander. I cook so little noodles that we only need a hand colander. I'm just getting this little thing out here. We're going to put it carefully in the sink here, and we're just going to pour everything out. And like I said, I usually save the water. Let's see. I'll save some of the water for washing up. Okay. And you're going to say, she's cooked so little bit of noodles. How could that be? Because I really don't want a noodle salad. I really want salad with some noodles. So can you see that these are, oops, I have to show you in a better way. These are bright, bright green. That's what you want, is the minute they turn another shade of green, which is super bright. And we're just going to let this drain for a very, very few minutes. And we're going to continue on with, and you know what I'm going to do? People cannot see the cutting board when I have the big, beautiful rainbow bowl. So we're going to somehow get out our little peas here. They're all mixed in. You can leave them whole. You don't have to cut them. It's just that I'm one of those people that don't like to feel like I'm a dinosaur when I'm eating a salad. I like the salad a little bit chopped. I like the, vegetables to fit in my mouth. Unless you're a person that's going to eat your salad with a fork and a knife, and you certainly could cut up the peas. You don't have to cut up. We've put a little bit of the pasta here. We're just going to let the pasta go in there now. Just let it go in. And I'm just going to cut these. I'm not going to be very fancy. I'm just literally going to cut them. I'm not even going to cut one at a time. I'm just wanting to cut them like in half. And that's done. That's just going to go. Yes.
Got a question. Annette asked that she heard that you said that You keep the ginger in the fridge, but she keeps hers in the freezer, and it does make it harder to handle. So how long is it good if you keep your ginger in the fridge?
I don't know how long it's good because I go through it so fast. I buy it like every single week. You know, I run into a woman the other day that was buying like five, like so much. And I asked her, I said, what are you doing with this? She goes, well, it's medicine. She said, it's healing medicine. And I said, oh, yes, you're right. You know, like, I don't know. I eat mine so quickly. Yes, it can spoil, I don't know, a week or 5 days. Let's just say 5 days. It just depends if you've opened it and how fresh it is. Sometimes when you buy the ginger, it's not so fresh, it's shriveled up or, you know.
Mm.
So you just want to always look for things that where the skin looks tight and not shriveled up. So I guess that's keeping in the freezer is an interesting idea. I've never done that before. And thank you for sharing that. Who was that asked that? Oh, I can't hear you, Jim, for some reason.
How about that? You hear me now? It helps with the
Yeah, I can
microphone's
hear
on,
you
right? Yeah,
perfectly now.
perfect. And Annette actually made that comment, which was great. And ginger's great in your smoothie in the morning too. Has added medicine and
Oh
added
my
flavor.
gosh. And and you think it's just for your smoothie, Jim. What about your oatmeal? Like, I
Mm.
love putting cardamom and ginger in my oatmeal. Cardamon's my favorite spice to put in my oatmeal.
I do
So
cinnamon and nutmeg, so that's where I go with my
and you
oatmeal.
know, Jane Esselstyn in her book, she has, and she talks about this all the time. She's famous for her turmeric oatmeal with mushrooms and shiitake mushrooms and spinach, and she makes a whole thing, you know. So this is what I'm talking about. This is either the broth or this is the doggy food. It's one or the other. Either goes into the freezer bag that I make the broth, or it goes into feeding the dog. So so right now we're gonna make some nice julienne slices. Now somewhere I have this tool. This tool I recently got to replace an OXO, that brand. I had one of these tools by them, but it never seemed quite sharp enough. And in order for this kind of peeler, has a lot of teeth, so you have to be very careful. And it comes with a guard. So there's a company called Spartan, Spartan, and they make peelers that are really comfortable for the hand. And it's very sharp, and I've come to really been using it a lot. And ideally, it works best when you have something big, a big surface, meaning not a teeny little carrot, not a teeny little something, but something that is big so that it can sit. Because you want to press. So you could do this with a beet, you can do it with a carrot, you can do it with zucchini, but we're just going to press and we're going to peel. And I'm going to actually rotate this, and you're going to see that we're going to get these beautiful, beautiful, beautiful shreds, and which I love. This for me is just joy because it's like, it's not a machine that's doing it, it's just your hand. It's just a peeler. And look how beautiful that is, Jim. Look, it's just like all shredded. And
Oh,
of course, this is another thing that I give a little bit of a rough chop so that it's not dinosaur size, but it's not competing with the pasta, right? But we need to have a little bit more carrots for sure. So let's just speed it up here and get a bunch. And eventually, when you don't have any surface, when it's so skinny, it doesn't do such a nice job. And you want to, and again, it will work with any kind of vegetable, but this is a very sharp tool. You have to be very careful, but it's pretty great. And I think the company is good. I had my OXO one for a long time, but I always felt like it wasn't quite sharp enough. But look at that. Look at those beautiful, beautiful, beautiful strands of carrot. So that's another tool that is not too expensive. And
which
yeah,
company makes that, Carol?
that's Spartan. I believe I gave you the link for that company, Jim.
Yep,
S
coming up on
P.
the screen.
Yep,
Yep.
Spartan. Spartan. Okay, so you can see that I've got this whole rainbow going in here, right? This whole, and this is like all salad, all salad. Okay, we're almost done. I have a cucumber here. We could dice it, julienne it. There's so many things, but I have my little groovy tool here, and we might as well just continue here with this tool, only because I'm showing off how I love it so much. And it's just going to go, it's going to be nice to have long strands. You could peel the cucumber if you want, not to have the dark skin, but why not have the skin, right? And eventually you get down to the seeds, and I kind of, once you get to the seeds, I stop because I don't want to add extra water, and I'll just chop that up eventually and just eat it. But here are the cucumbers going into the salad. And there's things that I have in my garden that have to go into the salad, Jim. And it's not necessary that you have these things, right? You don't have to have these things. I'm going to see if I can do a little swap here so that this kind of goes to the back. But when you have all this fresh stuff that's coming in, you can't help but want to have it. I think you can still see my cutting board. Just 1 second. I can see that this is still a little bit of a problem. um how do you make room, how do you make room, and like that. Okay, so everyone, we're good here, right?
Good. Yep.
And so what is from the garden? Radishes. Okay, do you need to put radishes in the salad? No, it's going to be up to you what you put in it, right? Let me get a smaller knife. I'm just gonna just get a paring knife. Now
Is it
these little,
radish season for you yet, Carol?
it's so much radish season that I've been giving people radishes because it's so many radishes that I don't know. I can pickle them, and it was another thing that my husband loves. So I think I don't even know if I love radishes myself. Honestly, I like them, but he loved them. He used to love to eat bunches of them. So I grow them. They're fast. They're ready really fast in the garden. The tops are actually edible, if anybody wonders about that. They actually are like eating spinach or greens. But for now, I'm just putting their parts into the, and I like growing the rainbow ones so that you have purple, and here I just usually I slice them in half, and then I just give them a quick slice. You can do this on the mandolin if you want, but I just give them, I just slice them up. And it's nice, they're a little bit spicy, just a little teeny bit. And there's so many kinds of radishes that it's fun. And radishes with snap peas are really like a spring meal. You could just make a salad with just mint and radishes and snap peas. And that is a delicious, like, first first of the spring. I know we're in the middle of the summer, Jim, but when I feel like I'm still in spring a little bit because these vegetables are just coming out for me. So I feel like, so this is going in here too, right? So we have so much going on in here, and you can see how this whole thing puffs up in no time whatsoever. So it's really hard for me to tell you, oh, just how much pasta, how much greens, how much of everything. But I just keep building it up. And the salad, sometimes I eat one, I make it one time and I'll eat it for 3 days. By the third day, maybe the pasta's getting a little, has absorbed the dressing. So you'll want to have a little bit of dressing left over so that you can maybe redress it and refresh it a little bit. And we only have two more things to go in here now. So we're going to put this knife aside, and Jim's time goes by so fast.
It does
So
fly. I got a texture question about the salad. Should it all be cubed, or is it just whatever the preference
it's
is?
whatever you want. I mean, this is the thing about this salad, and I really want to tell you, You don't like onions? Don't put onions. You don't have cabbage? Don't think about going to get the cabbage at the store. Just omit it, right? This is a salad that you make up as you go based on what you have or what maybe you've seen in the store that has inspired you. You know, I saw the snap peas a couple weeks ago, and I was just like, okay, they have purple snap peas and green snap peas, and I just started making this salad because I was inspired by the snap peas. You know, maybe you have I had a little bit of cabbage left, so I put cabbage. I specifically bought a red pepper for this salad. So it's really up to you. You don't have to put the radishes, but I have radishes in the garden, so why not? You know? And we're getting ready to put greens in the salad too. So besides all these vegetables, right? We're putting all these massive amounts of scallions that have just come out of my garden. Okay. It looks like a lot. I've probably chopped almost 3/4 of a cup. Okay. Well, I'm just going to use them all. I'm using them all. They're all going in here. Okay. And our very last thing that I want this salad to have, and again, because I have it, and if you don't have it, it's okay. But I have so much kale growing. I have two kinds of kale growing. I have the lacinato, this kind of kale, this very beautiful kale. Sometimes it's called dinosaur kale. And then I have the curly kale that almost all of us are familiar with the curly kale. Okay, so I probably don't need all of this. And what I'm going to do is, first of all, get it off its stem, both kinds. It doesn't matter which kind of kale. You could use red kale, curly kale, lacinato, doesn't matter. And usually the curly kale, if you just go upside down, this kale is more where you have to really strip it from its stem in a backwards way. I do it. And you know that you have to give them it's a tough green, a tough leafy green. I also have a lot of chard growing, but I think the kale handles better in this particular salad. This is compost. It's going into the bowl. I think this particular salad, because the dressing is sesame, it's a little bit of a heavier dressing. I think that it holds up better than chard, which is a much more kind of a delicate green. So I'm just kind of wrapping it all up like a cigar, and I'm going to just chop it up. And then I'm going to give it a little bit of massage. I don't want any pieces that are the size literally of a dinosaur. I don't, like I said earlier today, I'm not a fan of eating a gigantic piece of lettuce or greens. I like to have it all kind of blend in. So this is probably like 2 cups. But again, we're not measuring anything. It's not about measurements. None of this, except for the dressing. We did measure that. If you want, you could put a little lemon juice on this. You could if you wanted. And this salad, we're going to put the sesame ginger dressing. But if you had a peanut butter dressing, this salad would be delicious with peanuts and peanut butter. So this is it right here. Okay. I'm actually having tears in my eyes because those onions are a little strong. And even though I have my glasses on, they're just like, I can really feel them in my eyes. The onions. I'm going to move this for just one moment over here. Okay. And look at this salad. It has got everything. The only thing we haven't put in, I have to bring the cutting board back. Sorry, we're not quite done. We have to have some cilantro in it. And that too has come from the garden. I just picked it this morning. And we're just going to chop it all. We're going to rough chop it. I kind of like the big pieces. I'm cutting the stems as well. It's just like the stems if they're not full of dirt, they are very good to eat. You can eat the stems. I know some people throw it out. When I'm making Mexican food or something that calls for a lot of cilantro, I almost always cut all the way down and use the stems. If you want to throw it out, you can, but there we go. That's a lot of cilantro. You allergic to cilantro, hate cilantro. There's a lot of you out there that don't like it. Don't put it in. It's really okay. I'm putting it in because we're making something that is like a very Asian sesame noodle salad. Even if you put the peanut dressing, like I just spoke earlier, the cilantro would go great with that. So here we've got this whole salad. Somewhere in here we have a few noodles, right? Not a lot of noodles, because I don't want a lot of noodles. I want mostly salad with a little bit of noodles, okay? Right? And those are a little sticky now. They're getting sticky because I just dumped them in there and they don't have any dressing. So now we're going to take this dressing and we're going to literally, and honestly, it's up to you how you do this. You could put away all of this that you're not eating tonight and just put it in a container and dress it tomorrow. You could do that, or dress it 2 days from now. You could literally put this in a sealed container and just wait, have it in holding. But I'm going to dress it all because most likely I'll take some of it to work tomorrow. Maybe I'll even share this salad with a friend tonight. We'll see if they want some. Who knows? I'm putting a little more water in, just a little bit. And then I'm literally going to take my hands, and it's the best way is just to toss this salad. Okay, this is what we're, and like if you put away, you only eat 1/3 of the salad tonight, and you're gonna eat the other parts on the other days, you refresh it with a little more dressing. Okay, because what's gonna happen is the pasta, just like when you make marinara and you put the spaghetti away, it's an absorber, right? But I find it's pretty fresh tomorrow, but nice to have the fresh dressing. Another way to freshen it up tomorrow, if you wanted, was to squeeze a little lime or lemon juice. And that too would kind of give it its freshness back. Okay, now we're going to taste it. I'm not going to really change the way that I've made it because the dressing was already done. And I'm going to just taste it to see how it tastes. Um, mm, mm, yummy, yummy. So yummy.
Carol, I don't know how you can have that for more than one meal. That looks like a single meal to me. A big meal, but a single meal.
Well, this is the thing, Jim. I bought this bowl like like a couple summers ago, and I bought it. It is literally 12 inches wide, this bowl by 2 inches high. And it was to remind me that I needed to have a big salad every day. And
Exactly.
this really probably is 2 servings, honestly. It could be two, but again, everyone is a little different and everyone eats different amounts. So I don't want to tell you that it's, because for you, maybe it's one. Maybe for someone else, it's 3 or 4.
If I had put more pasta in there, it would be more than one serving. But with just that little amount you put in there, that's dinner, right?
Because I don't want it to be pasta with, sometimes pasta is pasta and then you have some vegetables. I want it the other way around. I want the satisfaction of the pasta that, pasta is so delicious, right? But I don't want to be full on pasta. And so I just want vegetables, lots of vegetables with I want it opposite of what you would normally think of. It's not a pasta salad, it's a vegetable salad with pasta. Okay,
And
and
look,
then of
yeah.
course you want to put some sesame seeds on it when you serve it. Okay, you could do the black or the beige ones. You can toast them if you want, but ultimately that is your salad. Okay, so I don't know. Does anybody? I see actually Annette. I never can see the comments, Jim, but somehow I'm able to see them for a moment. I don't know how. And I'm reading Annette's comment that she does watercress stems, and I love that idea.
Yeah.
What a smart idea. And look, here's the leftover dressing that I'll put away with the rest of it. And it could be for freshening up. Okay? So does that all seem good? And we're just going to, I don't know, scoot this over here for now. We're just, yeah, we're going to get rid of it. And we're going to move on to the next thing, but I have to do a little cleanup because I, I can't move on to anything until I clean up. So this is a good time,
Yeah,
Jim, if someone had any brilliant ideas or, we're all cooks in a kitchen, right? I'm
yeah.
not the master chef. I am the person that is just, the show is brought to you by me. And I want to
I don't know. I'll say you are the master chef, and we have an incredible number of great chefs watching this. There was an interesting conversation earlier about where people do keep their ginger in the freezer. Carol keeps it on the countertop. Some people in the fridge. So, I guess as long as you use it up, doesn't matter where you keep it, right?
it doesn't matter where you keep it as long as it's just not spoiling, right?
Right.
And
Exactly.
like I said, some people use it in lots of meals and it is very, very medicinal. So I mean, I think that it's important to just, when you have it, to use it. And don't, and the reason that I keep mine in a little container is so that it doesn't get lost in the refrigerator. That is why I keep it in this kind of container. So you don't want it to be, it's one of those things that could just like fall to the back and then you find it and it's all blue and then you're like regret that you bought something and you've let it spoil. And I'm always
Right.
bummed out by when that sort of thing happens. Doesn't
You
happen
don't
to
want,
me
yeah.
very often, but
You don't want ginger as a science project in your fridge. It's just where
no.
you,
You don't want any science project, right,
right.
Jim? I don't think, I guess nothing. You don't want anything to be a science project. That's why, I don't know. Sometimes if you can't deal with all the food, you just put it in the freezer, right?
It's also, and you lived in New York. It's the interesting thing in New York, we sort of shop day to day rather than have food for a week, which means you really minimize the waste and things going bad because you're just buying what you need to eat that day.
Oh my God, I was the most European shopper when I was in New York because I rode my bicycle. I went to the Union Square Market 4 days, it was 4 times Monday, Wednesday, Friday,
And
Saturday. I
Saturday.
brought groceries home in my bicycle and I had a small refrigerator, right? And I don't know. I shopped like I was a European, and I was always inspired by whatever was there. That's what I would have for dinner. And I lived few blocks away from the Fairway. I would get off at 72nd and Broadway, and I'd say, I would pat myself on the back, Jim, when I didn't go into the Fairway. Like, oh, good job, Carol. You've walked by the whole outside display. You've not gone inside even to buy one thing because, you run in to buy the one thing and you come out with a bag full of things. And so if I went 3 or 4 days, like walking by the Fairway, never going in, I considered myself to be like successful.
It sounds, one question just came in before you move on. What's the best way to store the prepared leftover salad?
This salad I'm gonna put in containers. So you could put it in the plastic if you want to put it in plastic containers. I have a lot of those glass rectangular containers that have snap lids, and I find that to be the nicest to put it away in glass. So that is ultimately, yeah, that's the best. And
Perfect.
and Jim, when I pass the Fairway, I'm reminded now that I would go a few blocks past the Fairway and then at 75th or 76th would be the produce guy on the corner
Right.
who knew me so well that he was like, I'd like buy some bananas because he had the cheapest bananas. And I say, I want 2 bananas. And he'd say, how about 5 bananas? 5 bananas. We'd be negotiating. And I'm like, you're making work for me. You're going to give me 5 bananas and I only need to eat two. And now I'm going to have to make banana bread. But then before I knew it, I was walking away with like bananas and figs and everything that he had that was good because he had great prices and he would literally like he recognized me and knew that I liked to cook, and yeah, he was always giving me a deal. So Fairway, walked by, patted myself, but hard to ignore the guy. That was
No,
like, it was hard to
doesn't
ignore
happen.
him.
Yeah, doesn't happen in Taos, right?
Doesn't happen in Taos. I have to get in my car. I have to go to the store. I
Yeah.
dream of a bodega all the time when I'm out of something and I want to run to the corner. I mean, let me tell you, I do miss the bodega. There is nothing like a corner store, you know?
Yep.
So anyway, one is spoiled in New York, and I think all of you know that when you go elsewhere, that there isn't food every few feet. But I do have a huge garden, Jim, so I am very spoiled now. I could call it a bodega. Maybe it doesn't need to be a garden. Maybe it's the bodega, the fresh bodega.
We have
Who
some pictures
knows?
of your garden coming on the screen right now
Oh
from
my God,
last
that
month.
is old garden now. That's like last
Yeah.
month. Like those onions are gonna be big yellow onions, like big yellow onions. Those are still growing. The broccoli's growing. The cauliflower's growing. Oh, and the beets look amazing. So they're not even, the beets are in the ground. Oh, and I picked a ton of garlic the other day, and I planted that in November, and it's buried under the snow for like all these months, and in July I get to pull it out, and it's a
Wow.
miracle. It's a miracle that there's a whole bulb with lots of cloves of garlic. So I'm sorry I get so excited by this because never in my life have I had a garden. So we're moving on to the next things, okay? The next things, because we have to make popsicles and we can't ignore, we have to move through these meals so that we can get to dessert. So we're going to make pesto, and I have made pesto with all of you at one point, probably back in 2020, like a really long time ago. So we're going to take like 2 cups of basil. That's what I wrote out the recipe. Honestly, if I have more than 2 cups, I'm going to use it all. So here is 1 cup, okay? 1 stuffed cup. Oh, and you know what? I'm not going to throw that in there yet. Before we do throw it in there, I like to get the garlic ready. So we need about 4 cloves of garlic. And we have talked many times about garlic, and sometimes I have disappointing garlic, but right now I have nice big garlic, and I'm very happy about that. Because there's nothing that is more pain is to deal with small, tiny little garlics. Okay, so we're smashing these, and they're very hard. I think they're very fresh, actually. That's what's happening. They're not my garlics yet. My garlics still have dirt on them, and they're sitting drying out. They have to, once you pull them out of the ground, shake off the dirt, they now have to dry for 2 to 3 weeks before I go cutting off their stalks. So you could throw in all the things into the processor. If you have a mortar and pestle, you could do this with a mortar and pestle, for sure. That's the probably that's the way most Italians would be making pesto, not in a food processor, but the food processor just makes it fast and speeds up things. Okay. So I'm doing 4 cloves of garlic. That might be a lot, but I think I'm going to have a little more than 2 cups. And here, look, I have, and if it's too garlicky, it's only mainly for me, this pesto, so I'll deal with it. If you have to be concerned about others, sometimes maybe you'll use a little teeny bit less. But why I'm putting in the garlic first is because I want to show you that I think it's nice to get it all ground up right away. Okay, this way it's all ground up, and now when you grind the rest of the things, this is, at least you know that that's ground. Okay, now pesto normally has oil, as you know, Parmesan cheese, as you know, as well as very expensive pine nuts that are usually roasted. So we're doing everything of the opposite. We are going to use the basil like we always do. We're using the garlic like we always do. We're omitting the oil. We're omitting the salt. We're even omitting the pine nuts because they're very expensive. Jim, I cannot remember when I last bought pine nuts because they are like $35 for a pound. They're so expensive. And even at Costco, I used to get a big bag at Costco. I would say, going to Costco, get me pine nuts, please. I'd raise my hand if I knew someone was going. But even those have gotten to be just a fortune. So in the recipe that I've written out, I say use about a third cup of roasted nuts. Any kind of nut you want. You could use cashew. You could use walnut. You could use, what else? You could use pine nuts if you so desire. You could use pumpkin seeds if you want. Okay? And if you really want and you have the extra time, it's kind of nice to soak the nuts in a little water and maybe for a half an hour or so, and then drain the water because it just makes this nuts softer. And when they grind, they get more creamy. Okay, so it's nice to do that, but you don't have to. I just wanted to mention that step. So we're going to put 2 cups of basil. Okay, and where did the rest of my basil go? Oh, I have it way over here. And I said if we had more than 2 cups, we're just going to use it. But you know what? Look, I have exactly 2 cups. That is all right from the garden. I have been trimming and trimming the basil, and they say if you trim it more, the more it grows. So when I first started growing basil, I would never touch it just if it was flowering. But now I have read up on it, and I know better that the more you trim it, the more it grows. Okay, so we've done our flour. Now, some of you cannot eat nuts, right? And some of you are either watching your weight, your calories, or for some reason you're just simply allergic to nuts. So I thought I would show you a substitute today because in the refrigerator, I have pesto that actually has made of nuts. I used walnuts this last time, but this time I thought that I would just show you that you can substitute that fat with another fat. And the other fat is going to be an avocado. Okay? And this avocado is like coming out in pieces. Let me just see if I can get this. It's ripe. It's just somehow very clingy to so we're gonna put the avocado in instead of the nuts. We're gonna save that and we're gonna just scoop this out. Let's see if I can just scoop it out with my fingers, although it's not such a good idea because when you use tools, sometimes your hands are tools actually, but sometimes it's better just to use that. Okay, so that is our avocado. Again, no nuts. I did write down nuts. I'm replacing the nuts with a small avocado. I'm using a half. Okay, it's up to you. If it's a large one, maybe you use a quarter. You can always add more, but you can't take out what you've already added. Okay, then we need to have lemon, lots of lemon, and we need to have some kind of substitute for the cheese, and we're going to use our nutritional yeast as a substitute. So we're going to put 2 tablespoons, and I actually have a measuring spoon that says 2 tablespoons. I love those incremental spoons. And we're going to keep this kind of close by. Maybe it will need a little more, but I doubt it does. And remember I told you that we're not putting salt in this. So we're going to I took zest earlier of 1 lemon. So we're going to put that zest in there because I have it nearby. And I have already a lemon that I zested for something else recently. So we're going to cut this in half. And we're going to juice it. And I have a bowl with juice because we used it earlier. And I saved that juicer right here. And oh my gosh, it's almost popsicle time and we're going to be at the end. And I saved the best things for last. And oh my gosh, Jim, I don't know where the time goes. I try to show so many things and maybe it's not such a wise thing. Maybe I
Well, it
have
all
to.
looks so good, Carol. It all looks so delicious.
I
You're
only
doing it
get
perfect.
everybody once a month, like I don't ask people to come to dinner all the time, and I don't ask people for you to come see me all the time. So I'm just like, I try to cram in more than one can do.
Yeah, but
So I'm really,
if you ask people to come for dinner, there'd be a line outside your house. You know that, right?
I would love that the most. I always want in my dream world to have like a where I cook just a soup or a sandwich, and there's a camera somewhere that says it's ready or some, and people just watch, and then they can come two or three at a time and sit at the counter, and then they could just put $5 in a little coffee can or something after they
Yeah.
leave, and then I will be so happy because there'll be just two or three people to talk to, and they'll be eating my lunch, and I'd be so happy. Okay, so that's everything. I put in a quarter cup of almost lemon juice. We're going to spin it around and see how it goes. Now, sometimes you have to add more liquid. It just depends. I really give it a lot of packing. Packing meaning packing, I give it a lot of pack the leaves in really tight. I'm going to add a little more lemon juice. And it's okay if it tastes kind of lemony when it's in the machine. Why do I tell you that? Because by the time you put the pasta and whatever other vegetables, that lemony flavor is going to kind of disappear a little bit. And also it's going to be in the front. Ooh, the garlic was really garlicky. I knew that. I could tell that it was like super fresh. I'm going to add a little water. Just a little bit of water. It's just about getting the consistency that you like. You don't want it to be watery, but you, again, this is up to you. This is a style thing. Some people would say this is done. It's kind of a little bit chunky, and they would say it's done. I would like mine to be a little bit smoother, just a little bit.
So
Not
Carol,
much.
How long can you keep it until it turns yucky?
Oh, you mean keep it like in for days, you mean?
Yeah,
Uh,
days,
probably
week.
four, probably 4 or 5 days. But I tell you, you put it in the ice cube trays, and then
Mhm.
you pop them out, and then you put all those cubes into a container, and then you have it for a long time. I think I'm gonna put my pesto right into this bowl. I like spinning it for a few minutes. But we won't spin it for too much longer. Why? Because we have to get on to popsicles, and we have to make our zoodles, and we have to get to popsicles. There's no way that we're missing popsicles. Okay, so this is delicious, out of this world delicious. Okay, and I'm just going to put it into this bowl right here. It's creamy. It's beautiful. I definitely cover it with a tight lid. But I'm going to serve a little bit up so you see. We're going to make our zoodles in less than seconds. You're going to see what we're going to do. Now, okay, so that is that. Okay, that is our beautiful green pesto. Okay, we're going to keep the spoon there. We're going to get rid of this right now. And we're going to do the zoodles. Zoodles are something that you can buy in the store already made. Okay, and what you can go to Trader Joe's. I know you can go to Whole Foods, but I have this little machine that actually does makes zoodles, and I haven't used it in quite some time. I'm just going to cut this zucchini. We're not going to make a lot because I have a ton of salad and I don't want to be overwhelmed. So this has a blade in it. It has a pointy thing. This does carrots and beets and sweet potatoes. So you can make zoodles out of any kind of vegetable you want, right? And basically, you're going to turn it. You're just going to turn it, and you're going to get these beautiful little curls, which make me so excited. I've made many times just a yellow and green zucchini salad like this. You can eat, once you put a little lemon juice, you can eat these raw, actually. Look, it's a little bit like my curly hair sometimes. Okay, it's just, we're just gonna have a little. I guess what we'll do is we'll make the one zucchini. Now you're gonna ask me, do you have to cook the zucchini? If you're someone that doesn't want to eat it raw, you can saute it in a little teeny bit of water or a little bit of lemon juice or citrus, but just for a very few seconds, okay? Because they're very delicate. They don't really need much cooking, honest. And we're just going to serve this up, and you're going to see how I'm going to serve it. Look, so we, out of that tiny little zucchini, look, my zucchini was the size of my hand, right? Look how tiny this zucchini is. It's like five inches. And I got almost 2 cups of zoodles. We're going to get rid of that machine. We're going to
Before
get a
you get rid of the
plate.
machine, Carol, what do you know the product name?
Oh, I do. It's I have to show you the box, okay? Because sometimes I keep the box because I love the box so much, and this is one of the tools that I love the box so much. So it's Benriner, Benriner. They make mandolins and things, but I love the box because it has this beautiful lady on it, and I just love the whole box. Japanese on it. It's really great. It's just, I don't know. This machine I love very much, but I keep it in a box. I don't use it all the time. It seems to really come out during the summer, but the thing is, it ultimately, um, it can be used in the winter. It can be used on sweet potatoes. It can be used on beets. It can be used all the time. It's just for some reason I think about it when I have the zucchinis, right? I don't know why, but I do. So I'm just quickly doing a little bit of zest, just a little bit, okay? And we have to wrap this up, Jim. Otherwise, we're never, ever going to get where we're supposed to be. And like I said, let's just move all the things out of the way. We're going to get a plate. We're going to get a plate. We're going to move this, move this. I'm going to put these zucchinis on a plate. It has, and I'm going to squeeze just a little bit of lemon juice on it. And that is going to give it, where did I go with my lemon? That is going to give it flavor. And it's actually, when you eat ceviche, and there is such thing as, people know it as shrimp or fish but you can eat beef ceviche. There's all sorts of vegetables, and it's when the lemon actually cooks the actual vegetable. I just got some seeds in there, so that's not so good. So you want to peel that out. You want to get those out. Okay, so I just used a little bit of lemon juice, right? Look how pretty that is, okay? You could put a little bit of chili flakes if you want. Now we're going to take a very little bit, not a big amount, and we're just going to toss our pasta with the pesto. Now, again, don't be heavy-handed here. It's better to go back and dip again and get more pesto than to put too much pesto, okay? Sometimes, Jim, when I used to a long time ago eat pesto with oil, I used to feel like I had to take a nap. Or I would feel like I was sick to my stomach. But when you have this kind of pesto that is not made with any kind of oil, you don't get tired.
It's light.
It's just
Doesn't.
super light.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna taste this just like a noodle, just to see. Oh my God! You have to come over immediately. You have to come. It's so yummy. Now, what I'm gonna do to make it more special is I cut all these sun-dried tomatoes. I mean, sun-dried. I want them to be sun-dried, but I cut cherry tomatoes in half. And I put them in a 400-degree oven. And I did tell you not to turn on your oven in the summer, but I couldn't help but roast these. And they're not blackened, but they're roasted. And I'm going to put them all these tomatoes. It looks like a lot, but it's going to be like heavenly, right? So that's going to be like that. We're not even going to toss them. And then I have some mixed greens that are spicy greens, like arugula and mizuna. from the garden. And I'm just going to lightly put a few of those around and maybe just give it a little toss so that the greens get mixed in. Tomatoes are on the top, being very delicate, and it's done. This is it right here, done.
Beautiful. Time for the popsicles.
Okay. Oh my God, it's 4:15. Okay, so we're gonna be popsicled, and we're gonna do it fast, and we're gonna move all these savory things, and we're gonna make popsicles. Now, I gave you a recipe that had chocolate popsicles, and you can just follow the recipe and put it, and it's delicious. I made those chocolate popsicles in the middle of the week and thought, okay, that's the one you're going to get. But today we're going to also make fruit popsicles. Okay? Why do I want to not make what I've given the recipe? Because it's so easy that you don't need me to mix the ingredients. Okay, you just need to get the idea to inspire you. It's as inspiring as making a salad without a recipe. This is going to be popsicles without a recipe. So we're moving all these things. We're going to bring the fruit out. We're going to have raspberries. We're going to have strawberries. We could have cherries. We can have mangoes. We can have oranges. We can have bananas. And we don't need any yogurt. But I happen to have yogurt. Why do I have yogurt? Because I needed a quarter cup of yogurt the other day to make an Indian dish. Just a quarter cup. And they had no small yogurts. And I had to buy this. And so I just like, what am I going to do? I'm not a yogurt eater. I don't eat smoothies every morning. And so we're going to use yogurt in our popsicles because we have it. And we're going to use any kind of fruit that inspires us. We're going to get our NutriBullet, any kind of blender, right? Any kind of blender. And let's see where I'm going to put this so that it's plugged in. Finally the dog shows up. The dog, Isla, she's now cruising in, licking my leg, stretching on my leg. You want to say hello to everybody? You want to say hello? If I touch you, then I have to wash my hands. You just have to wait, Isla. You have to wait. She has to wait because the minute I give her affection, she thinks I'm hers 100%, and we're trying to finish up. So I'm putting some strawberries in. We'll make it strawberry and raspberry, okay? And we're going to put a little bit of yogurt, just a little bit, okay? Just like a spoonful, maybe 2 spoonfuls, okay? That's probably enough of that. And you could put a little bit of milk if you need, a little bit of plant-based milk. But let's just see how it goes. I'll put a tiny, tiny bit of water. Oh, you know what we could do? We have an orange, and we're going to cut an orange. Okay, we're just going to cut an orange very fast. Okay, we're going to put a little bit of juice. I'm going to try not to get the seed in there. So we have raspberries, strawberries, a teeny bit of yogurt, and a little bit of juice. Okay, and that's just going to go there. We're going to puree it. So ultimately what you want to do is puree the fruit. And you can be as simple or as complicated as you want. Okay, that's done, pureed. Okay, so that is that. We are going to put this puree right this very second, and we are going to put it in a bowl for this minute. One big bowl. Let's just get one big bowl out of here. And we're going to make a combination. So you could make just one kind of popsicle. That is perfectly fine. Or you can be a little bit nutso like me and want to have 2 colors, 3 colors. However, you could grind up kiwi, anything that you want. You could make mango. You could make watermelon. You could make just banana. I made chocolate at the beginning of the week and mixed it with fruit. So it's really going to be up to you how you do it. I also The other day at the store, bought mango. Just 1 minute. I'm coming right back. I bought mango somewhere. I bought mango in a bag. It was 2 for $5. I thought that is a deal. That is a super deal. So you don't even have to peel your mango. You could just take frozen mango. Although I probably would let it defrost a little bit. And I'm going to just show you that you could use that. You could also put in a banana. So we'll have banana. We're going to have banana, mango, and strawberry raspberry. So we're going to take this, and we're almost done, Jim. We're like just moving along. We get the knife wherever the knife is. Okay. And you're probably wondering, what is she going to put these popsicles in? Well, we're going to talk about the brands that I have. I used to make popsicles all the time for my husband. He loved them. And you might say to yourself, why is she going to all that trouble to make a popsicle when she could just eat a bowl of fruit? Why? Well, the thing is, the popsicle is the most satisfying thing ever when you start to lick it and it's frozen, and you're like, for 10 or 15 minutes, you're like eating something that is frozen fruit, and it's cooling and refreshing, and it's simply just a lot of fun. So it's worth it. Now, if you don't have any kind of popsicle molds, you could definitely just use a cup and some popsicle sticks, and just do it in a very rudimentary fashion. Okay. And let's get rid of these strawberries. And I'm working very fast here. I just want to show you, because I'm not cutting this in the most perfect, beautiful way, but I'm making mango and banana, right? And the seed is in there. So we're just going to have a little bit of mango. That's good enough for now. I'll probably eat that pit. And we're going to use a scoop of yogurt, just one little scoop. I'm desperate to use up all the yogurt, and maybe just a teeny bit of water. This time I have the juice. I could use the juice. And where did we go? This is the thing when we're working quickly. We washed this. It was good. We washed it. Again, your imagination, it's going to all be up to you how you do it. And we're going to okay. So you've pureed your fruit, and you're ready to now put things in the molds. Now, what I'm going to do is we're going to show you 2 molds. We have less than 5 minutes here, Jim. We are moving along very good. I have 2 kinds of molds. I have these molds that are made by a company, and I'm going to spell it for you, Lekue. And they make silicone products that I really like, that are muffin pans and cake pans and all sorts of pans. And I tried these. What I like about these is they're stackable. Okay, they're stackable. You get 4 in a package, and they take up very little space in your freezer because they stack. So ultimately, you want to take their sticks out. These ones have lids. And then I'll show you the other kind. Now, if you're going to be fancy, because I'm trying to be fancy, you really want to put in one kind of fruit and then let it freeze for like maybe 20 minutes or so, and then put the other fruit in. But I have done it when you do it all at once. It doesn't make it perfectly striped, but we're going to just put in that one here, and then we're going to put in the red at the top, right? And we just go almost to the top with the freezing, okay? And we have a few dots going on in there. Again, you don't have to do this. You don't have to make it as complicated as you could just do one color. But I wanted stripes, two striped kind. This lid goes on, right? Just right in there. And then it has a hole, and you literally slip in the stick, okay? So we would make a couple of these. I have 2 already in the freezer. We're going to make a couple of these. I'm just 2 of them. gonna put this, I guess I could put this at the bottom. And then again, if you wanted to make it really fancy, you would freeze it so that you could have stripes if you wanted. Again, this technique is all up to you. You don't have to have two colors, don't have to go to all the effort that I just did, but it's really fun. You'll see when they come out. This stick goes in and I kind of pat it down. They get stacked, go in the freezer. Now there's another kind of mold, and I'm going to show you this. This I'll take out the rest when they're done, but this is the kind that you actually want to freeze for like 20 minutes. So you'll put your color at the bottom, right? Your mango banana one. And then you're going to get rid of that. And I try to clean that up a little bit with a paper towel. Let's just get a paper towel. And you see how it's dripped, so I give it a little cleaning. And you would put this now in the freezer and let it get solid, not rock hard, because you want to be able to slip the stick in. And once it's like kind of hard, then you would put the next color in. But I'm going to just put the next color in right now. It might merge a little bit, right? It might merge, but it's okay. We're not trying to make art. We're just trying to have fun with it, right? And then that stick is just going to go right in, right? And this snaps on. And this is made by Tovolo, which is a brand I have that makes a lot of very good molds for ice cream. You've seen, I've used these. This is all for ice cream. This is the same brand of popsicle for Tovolo. And you can see I've gotten drips. So I'm just going to wipe it down. You see how it's a perfect stripe here, but it's kind of gotten all a little crazy back there. Give it a little settling. And we're pretty much done, Jim. I just want to take out the popsicles that I have. And you're going to see, we've got so many things going on here. We're finishing up as we speak. So the ones that are stackable, that are like this, just stack. You see, like that in a row? The ones that are not stackable take up a lot of space in the freezer. Whoops, I have them popping all over the place. Just a minute. You have to have freezer room for these ones. They take up real estate, okay? But you see, I've made like a pistachio popsicle here. I have chocolate, raspberry, and mango here. And so these just stack. And then you take them out. They have little inserts, and you take them out. And we could show. Let's see, which one would I want to eat? Well, first of all, I'll show you one of these first. Okay, so this one you take out. You take the lid off. And then it's silicone, so it pops out and it comes out just like that. Okay? That's your popsicle. Let's say I don't want to eat it right now. I'm going to put it back in. Okay? I'm going to just put it back in its hole because I'm not ready to eat a popsicle. And that's that. So all of those stack like that. This kind is a little more complicated. You often have to run a little hot water or your hands. I usually let it sit on the counter for a few minutes, and then you pull it out, and it's quite big and quite beautiful. And I find it quite satisfying to be licking it. And it's just it's the most joy, the most fun. And like I said, in honor, in memory of my husband David, I have made popsicles, and that's the end of our show, Jim. Where time is up. You can get fancy and put whole fruit in if you want, but everybody gets the idea. I'm only here to inspire you, and you make it up as you go.
Let me give the announcements. We'll bring it back to you in a second, and we will close it up.
Okay, fantastic.
An amazing, amazing show as always. Just so you know, on the homepage of our website, plantpoweredmetrony.org, you'll find the details of all the events that we talked about early. Please join us in the area or join us for the online events. All the links are available to register. Again, it's Plant Powered Metro New York. If you want to follow Carole, you should follow Carole at the Veggie Vanguard, or on Instagram, the Veggie Vanguard. Are great places to do that. And of course, we're off in August. in September. Sunday, the 28th, is the next demo. Who knows what Carol's going to make? We just know it's going to be amazing. So at this point, Carol, let me get you back on here for a quick goodbye to everybody.
Oh, and Jim,
Okay,
could I add one thing?
please.
I know most people are all over the world and most of you are in New York, but if anybody's in Albuquerque on August 9th, it's a Saturday, and I will be at the Red and Green Festival and doing an in-person demo, which I do every August. And if any of you are in the New Mexico area, the southern part of New Mexico, please come. So this is what this looks like. You see, you take it off. And again, it doesn't have to be fancy. I have kiwi at the bottom, raspberry, maybe with strawberry. I'm not sure what I did. Maybe even cherries. And then mango at the top. You don't have to put the yogurt if you don't want to. You don't have to eat it right now. I'm just putting its little lid back on. These are going to go in the freezer. And you've got the idea. And hopefully all of you have a great summer. I look forward to seeing you in September. And thank you all for coming. Thank you so very much. Isla, where are you? Here she is.
Come on down, step right in. Carol's Kitchen, where we begin. See what's cooking, something new. Plant-based power just for you.